Hi, it's me. Today we're going to learn about old-growth forests and how they are super diverse ecosystems. So let's get started. Old-growth forests are amazing natural ecosystems. In fact, they have the greatest biodiversity of any forest type. But what is an old-growth forest? Well, there are two main things that make a forest old-growth. The first thing is that it has large trees. And the second thing is that those trees have been around for a long time. But why do these forests have so much biodiversity? Well, let's find out. First off, let's define what we mean by biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variety of living things within an area. This includes all plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms like bacteria. So when we say that old-growth forests have high biodiversity, we mean that they have lots of different kinds of plants and animals. But why do these forests have such high biodiversity? Well, it starts with those big trees. Large trees provide many benefits for other organisms. They provide food in the form of nuts, fruits, sap, and nectar. Many animals also use the holes in trees known as cavities for shelter or nesting sites. Large trees are also great for plants because they provide shade in the forest understory. Shade is important because it helps keep the forest floor moist. This moisture helps small plants and fungi grow. Large trees also help prevent erosion on hillsides. Their extensive root systems hold the soil in place, which helps prevent landslides. All of these factors help create a healthy ecosystem that can support a wide variety of species. Now let's take a closer look at those big trees. Most old-growth forests are dominated by a few tree species that are called climax species. These are species that are well adapted to the region and have few predators. One example of a climax tree species is the sugar maple. Sugar maples are well adapted to cold climates, and they produce a sugary sap that humans love to turn into syrup. Because they are well adapted to their environment and produce a sugary sap that humans love to consume, sugar maples have survived mostly unscathed by human activity. Another example of a climax tree species is the Western hemlock. Western hemlocks are found in the Pacific Northwest, and they are well adapted to the cool, moist climate. These trees grow slowly, but they are very long-lived and can reach an age of over 700 years. Because old-growth forests only occur where there has been enough time for these slow-growing trees to reach maturity, Western hemlocks are a defining feature of these ecosystems. The diversity of old-growth forests doesn't stop at just the trees. In fact, there are many different types of old-growth forests all across the world. In the temperate rainforests of the Pacific Northwest, you might find forests dominated by towering redwoods and Douglas firs. As you travel east across the continent, you will encounter forests dominated by oaks and hickory trees. Further south, you will find pine and spruce forests that are home to a variety of wildlife. And finally, in the southeastern United States, you will find bottomland hardwood forests that are often found along riverbanks. All of these different types of forests are considered old growth, and they all support a wide variety of plant and animal life. So now that we know what old-growth forests are and how they differ from other types of forests, let's take a closer look at the plants and animals that live in them. As we mentioned earlier, old-growth forests are home to a variety of wildlife. One of the most iconic animals that live in old-growth forests are the northern spotted owl. These owls are only found in the Pacific Northwest, and they rely on the old-growth forests for habitat. They use the cavities in large trees for nesting and hunting. Northern spotted owls are an endangered species because of habitat loss due to logging. This is one reason why protecting old-growth forests is so important. Another animal that lives in old-growth forests are marmots. Marmots are large rodents that live in the mountains. They spend their days looking for food and their nights in their burrows. Marmots are social animals, and they often live in groups. Marmots are an indicator species, which means that their presence can indicate the health of an ecosystem. If there are marmots in an area, it means that the habitat is healthy and supports a variety of plant and animal life. In addition to these two animals, old-growth forests are also home to a variety of other wildlife, including black bears, mule deer, gray wolves, coyotes, bobcats, foxes, raccoons, opossums, skunks, woodpeckers, nuthatches, creepers, jays, owls, hawks, eagles, and more. All of these animals rely on the old-growth forests for food, water, and shelter. But it's not just animals that make old-growth forests so biodiverse. As we mentioned earlier, these forests are also home to a variety of plants. One of the most important plants in old-growth forests are the climax species. These are the plants that are well adapted to the region and have few predators. In the Pacific Northwest, for example, the Western Hemlock is a climax tree species. This evergreen tree is well adapted to the cool, moist climate of the region, and it is a dominant species in old-growth forests. Another example of a climax plant species is the sugar maple. This tree is well adapted to the cold climate and produces a sugary sap that humans love to consume. Because they are well adapted to their environment and produce a sugary sap that humans love to consume, sugar maples have survived mostly unscathed by human activity. In addition to these two species, old-growth forests are also home to a variety of other plants, including mosses, liverworts, fungi, ferns, herbs, shrubs, and vines. All of these plants rely on the old-growth forest for food, water, and shelter. So now that we know some of the animals and plants that live in old-growth forests, let's take a closer look at how they interact with each other and their environment. The interactions between organisms in old-growth forests are complex and fascinating. The plants and animals in these forests have evolved over millions of years to interact with each other in delicate balance. For example, the northern spotted owl relies on the old-growth forest for habitat. They use the cavities in large trees for nesting and hunting. The owl's diet consists mainly of small mammals, such as marmots. Marmots, in turn, are a vital part of the forest ecosystem. They help to disperse seeds through their droppings, and their burrows provide habitat for other animals. The marmot's predator, the gray wolf, is also an important part of the forest ecosystem. Wolves help to control the population of herbivores, such as deer and elk, which can help to prevent overgrazing. These are just a few examples of the many interactions that occur in old-growth forests. The plants and animals in these forests are all interconnected in a complex web of relationships. These interactions help to create the biodiversity that makes old-growth forests so special. Old-growth forests are truly amazing ecosystems. They are home to a variety of plants and animals that have evolved over millions of years to interact with each other in delicate balance. Protecting these forests is essential not only for the species that live there, but also for the humans who enjoy the many benefits they provide. By understanding the importance of old-growth forests, we can work to preserve them for future generations. I hope you enjoyed learning about old-growth forests. If you want to learn more about this topic, I recommend checking out some of the resources provided below. Thanks for watching. Bye.